Hello and welcome to Full Funnel. Once again, we are joined by our favorite guest. He was the first guest for Full Funnel, and now we are here with Mr. Bob Poppins. How are you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing great, Justin. How are you?
Oh, doing fantastic. So, what did you think about all the history that was made in the class with the 60 car winning and virtual winning and the coldest on one of the coldest races on record. Let's start
Yeah,
there.
I think I'm still warming up from it, Justin. It was cold out there, but finally got in after a few days of snow delays. And look, and then they had to put on those rain tires, wet weather tires, whatever you want to call them. And Ryan Priest comes out the winner. And, we can say what we want about the Clash, but you see Ryan Priest out there virtually crying over the fact that he won this race. And it's like, wow, it certainly meant something to him. And, it's certainly one to remember for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, so Bob, as Fox really gets going with the Daytona 500 in about a week, what are you looking for out of Chris Buster and some of the guys that were running at the front this weekend in the class?
Yeah, well, as you know, at Daytona, there could be a lot more people. You'd say there are a lot more people running up at the front, a variety of people than you would at the Clash. But the Clash, especially with the wet weather tires, you saw a lot of different people running up front, right? From Shane Van Gisbergen to Priest to Daniel Suarez to Ty Gibbs to Larson and Blaney, and it seemed like everybody Hamlin, even though he gets spun, he ends up in the top five. So, and of course, you saw William Byron up there too. And I think when you think of the Daytona 500, you say, hey, is William Byron going to be able to make it three in a row? Is he going to be able to do that? I think that's the one thing you're going to look at. And then you do look at guys like Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece and Brad Keselowski coming from his leg injury. And you're saying, are the RFK drivers, they already got a win in the books, even if it wasn't a points race. Are they going to be able to get themselves in victory lane this year after a frustrating 2025?
So let's dive into what you have going on this year. So what do you got going on? What does Bob Puppets have going on this year?
I'll be doing, his work for Fox, just like last year. He'll do a lot of NASCAR races, but also a lot of IndyCar races. And, looking forward to especially St. Petersburg, where you're going to have the trucks and IndyCar series running on the same weekend. And then the following weekend at Phoenix, you'll have IndyCar joining the Xfinity or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Cup Series at Phoenix. So the two big weekends where you have both IndyCar and some sort of NASCAR national series going on. And I'm looking forward to those.
So it's funny you almost said it's funny, and,
Yeah.
and you know what do you think O'Reilly's is going to bring in NASCAR? I had Josh Williams on the other day, and that will come out probably after Daytona now, but what do you look for from O'Reilly's as a sponsor? What are you seeing people talk about? What they're looking forward to and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Xfinity did a great job promoting the series, even all the way up to the end, I thought. But whenever you have a new sponsor, they tend to put a few more resources behind it. They want people to know that they're sponsoring the series. So I do see them trying to do a little bit more promotion of that series and trying to get some of these names that you might not know front. Xfinity did have a kind of a sponsorship on both the Cup side, where they were presenting sponsor of that series, and also had sponsorship there at 2311. While it looks like, at least for the time being, mostly O'Reilly will focus on the sponsorship of NASCAR's top developmental series.
So so you look at let's go with cup drivers. You look at cup drivers who need to have a breakout year. Who are they and why?
Oh, Cup drivers who need to have a breakout year. Well, part of me says Ty Gibbs, right? It says he needs to win, right? Like he's been in it a few years now. The expectations are that he is going to win. Now, I don't think his job is necessarily in jeopardy, but I think for just his confidence level and his mojo, that he needs to win. When you look at drivers who maybe need to have breakout years in order to kind of stay in the sport, I would look at John Hunter Nemechek. I would look at Noah Gregson, and I would also potentially look at Daniel Suarez. I think those drivers, need to show that that they can be strong consistently week in and week out, and can continue to bring value to a race team as far as results.
So, so what are you looking forward to from your teammates? Uh, Mike Joy, uh, and Larry McReynolds and Clint Boyer, and of course, Mr. Happy, Kevin Harvick.
I'm expecting a lot of information from them. I expect to give them some information, but I expect a lot of laughs and a lot of insight. That you talk about. You combine all their years in the sport, and it's probably something more than you and me, Justin. Right? So I think you talk about their experiences, and I think the great thing is that you have all sorts of different views. You have Mike Joy, who's been around forever. Larry McReynolds, who's been around for almost forever. Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, been around, the last, I guess you'd say the last 25 years or so. So you have a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different people. And I like having that because I think it gives a good variety of opinions and insight.
So, I'd be remiss if I get asked this. What was it like to sit there in a mock i- interview saying with the drivers that raced the Ram race for the sheep?
Yeah, well, they certainly wanted us to ask tough questions, and it's I just treat it like a regular press conference. I'd sat there and watched. I got in there, I think, at the start of the second race of the day, so I had seen most of the races that day, and so I got familiar with. I mean, I already knew some of them. I can't say I knew all of them, but making sure I knew their backgrounds, and we just wanted to see how they would do in that setting. So that was fun. It was, it's hard because these drivers are doing everything they can. There's 15 of them and only one seat available, so that it is a stressful time for them.
Yeah. Uh, so on that note, so the so the 14 clock was the full-time clock available. So what do you expect out of that driver? And what impressed you on that mock press conference they had you give?
Yeah, well, I think I was impressed with all of them. They all, it was easier for the ones who had done well. to answer questions, and certainly Minnie Tyrell, the one who won the competition, he was pretty smooth at the press conference. He's a pretty outgoing guy, so you kind of felt like he would be as far as what you expect from him. I think the Dodge program in its first year programs don't always go great, right? So for the challenge for Minnie will be to run better than his teammates. And I think that that'll be key, run as well or better than Daniel Dye, run potentially just as well as Justin Haley, even though Haley obviously has a lot more experience, and and certainly match what Butterbean Queen has done or will be doing this year. So to me, that's what Minnie Tyrell has to look at. I wouldn't put any more expectations on him as far as finish, other than to be on pace with his teammates.
Yeah. So Tyrell won the series. Uh, so I was pleasantly surprised with his climbing abilities and stuff during the series. Uh, what what would your overall take on his uh climbing abilities? Do you think uh that he's going to do well this year?
I mean, I think, I was kind of impressed. I was at VIR, so I saw them on road courses, and I don't think he had a whole lot of road course experience. So to see him able to kind of hold his own and be somewhat close to the leaders in his race, I thought was good. And I again, how well is he going to do? I don't know. He's never been, I don't think, on a track bigger than a mile and a half. And so it's just really hard to know how a driver who's never been on a track a mile and a half, how
Yeah,
he's going to be. And frankly, I think it'd be wrong to judge him in 1 year on how he does there. The key, hopefully he gets 2 years so that he can show what he has learned in his first year when he starts racing a second year, because it's a lot to ask, especially with very little practice for
yes,
somebody to go out there, especially in a new truck. I just, I don't know how good any of those trucks are going to be.
yeah. And I'd be remiss if I could ask you, what is Bob's opinion of Tony Stewart coming back to race Daytona in one of those college clubs?
Well, my opinion is I don't know what Tony's thinking, but the but I mean, look, if Tony wants to do it, he should do it. And obviously he has a tight relationship with Dodge on the NHRA side, and they're trying to make sure people know that they and Ram are in the truck series, and Tony doing the race at Daytona is a way for them to make sure that people know that. And look, he at least he knows the air, right? He knows how to race vehicles on a super speedway. If he went anywhere else, there are probably tricks to the trucks that he doesn't know. But here he knows the air. Unfortunately, he also knows that he has a probably better than 50% chance of wrecking. So, we'll see. If he can make it to the end, don't count him out. It's just a matter of making it to the end, which we'd
Yeah,
say about 75% of the field.
yeah. So before I let you go, Bob, please give me two predictions. One prediction is, do you think William Byron's going to win the Daytona 500?
Do I think William Byron is going to win the Daytona 500? He's won two in a row. What are the odds of somebody winning three in a row? I say no, just because, gosh, you can't. It's very difficult for everything to fall your way 3 years in a row.
And then for the new championship format, who do you think rises to the claim on the new slash old championship format?
I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. I just think this consistency and his, we do hear him get fired up on the radio, but he's still, I consider him kind of a relatively even keeled driver. And I think this format will benefit someone like Ryan Blaney.
All right, Bob. Well, thank you for coming on in 2026, right before Fox and the NASCAR season really clamps up in Daytona. Wow, the off season's over. I can't believe it. You probably can't believe you're back at work, but there's no place I'd rather be than talking to people like you right before the season. And I bet there's no place you'd rather be than at the racetrack having fun working.
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the season getting going and having races every week to be able to talk about with you and everyone else.
All right. So, on behalf of JP's full follow, this has been full follow with Justin and guest Bob. See you guys later and goodbye, everyone.